Hello, class. Today we're going to talk about how to create the sentence. And to write a sentence, we need to understand what is a clause. Okay, so really, we're going to discover how to write a clause. And there's two types of clauses, independent and dependent. When we write a sentence, we first start with words. All right, we start with words. We begin with adjectives, pronouns, nouns, verbs, adverbs. We have different parts of speech, and these are just English words, vocabulary. Now, I want to also say that vocabulary is extremely important in English. A native speaker uses about 10,000 words in their lexicon. That just means words that they speak with. We have about a bank of about 10,000. ESL students sometimes try to work with 500 to 1,000. You really need to get up to about 2,000 to 5,000 words to have a good grasp on language. So learning vocabulary in English is extremely important. So we begin with the vocabulary. We begin with simple words. We have words such as dog, the, ran, man, towards. We now need to organize these words in subject, verb, object. And I'm telling you, this is important. Please listen. Lots of students have problems with this. So this is a major important point you need to understand and follow. We must organize the words subject, verb, object. Remember, I said that the English language follows this pattern very often. Not all the time, but very often. So we organize these words into this pattern. The dog, it's the subject. Ran is the verb. Towards the man is we're going to call it the object. Okay, so if I say, towards the man ran the dog, it sounds strange. It does not sound like a native speaker. It's not organized, all right? So I'm going to start with the subject, the dog. And we say, what is the subject? Well, again, the subject is what's doing the action of the sentence. Remember, if you don't remember, watch what is a sentence again. And the object is what receives the action of the sentence. So we have the dog is the subject, and that needs to go first in the sentence. So this simple point is very, very important for you to know well, because every sentence should start with this basic pattern. Okay. Next, we put the words in a phrase or a clause. A phrase does not have a verb. Here's my picture. There you go. A phrase does not have a verb. Okay, so it's just words without a verb, such as the big gray owl, a hot summer day. A clause is a subject and a verb. Okay, so that's the difference between a simple phrase and a clause. The big gray owl hoots every night. Hoot is a verb. That's what owls do, they hoot. So the big gray owl hoots every night. That is an independent clause, and it is a complete sentence. I was swimming on a hot summer day. I am the subject, was swimming is the verb. On a hot summer day, we're going to call that the predicate or even the object. I was swimming. Okay, so this has a verb, swimming, and the first example also has a verb, and that's what makes a clause. Let's look more closely at clauses. We're going to discover what is an independent and dependent clause. Clauses are important. They're similar to the parts of speech of a sentence. They're the building blocks of a sentence. So sentences are really units of information that express clear ideas. The dictionary defines a sentence as a group of words that expresses a statement, question, command, or wish. At the beginning, learners of a new language may speak in broken sentences, such as, she go store yesterday, because they don't have all the words or grammatical knowledge that they need to be able to express their ideas completely, and that's okay. It's much better to speak in broken sentences than to say nothing at all. And that's, again, Um, you know, just speak. You can speak in broken sentences. You can speak when you're making a mistake. The important part of language learning is you must make yourself speak and use the language you're learning. But as you advance in language, as most of my students will be advanced, it's important that you improve your clarity and your complexity of your English sentences. So to do this, you must first know how to write and speak clear and accurate simple sentences in English. And then you move on to create a larger, more complex sentence. You actually combine those two simple sentences and you create something compound or complex. So we're going to practice together. When you're writing an English sentence, you should always include the capitalization, just like my last video about how to write a sentence. The second is the punctuation. There is M. You see the end punctuation is a period. The verb is sleeping. The subject is Marco. It's a complete sentence. Now, I want to explain clauses. A clause is a group of words that contain a subject and a predicate. Subject and predicate is really the verb in everything else. There's two types of clauses, dependent and independent. Here are some examples. I love chocolate. Mary bought a new car. Although she loves kittens, and before you eat dinner. Now, if you look at the first two, there's something different about them. I love chocolate. It's a complete idea. It's a complete sentence, and it's an independent clause, okay? Mary bought a new car. It's a complete idea, it's a complete sentence, and it's an independent clause. The second one's, although she loves kittens. Now this one is not a complete sentence. It is a complete idea, but it is a dependent clause. It's not independent. It's not able to stand on its own. And then before you eat dinner is also a dependent clause. It's not a complete sentence, okay? An independent clause is, think of it like an adult. They don't need help from anyone else. They can take care of themselves. They're independent. They're free. They can stand alone. Okay, this is the independent clause. Here are some examples. My mom will visit this weekend. I love learning. The kids are in the yard. I went to Paris last year. Take a minute, maybe write down a couple independent clauses yourself. All right, next, I want to talk about dependent clauses. A dependent clause is a subject and a verb that are not complete on their own. Think of a dependent clause like a child. A child can't take care of themselves. They need to be supported by an adult. They need to lean on an adult. A dependent clause can never stand alone. It can never be written by itself. It must be connected to an adult, an independent clause. We have these examples here. Because I love chocolate, I eat it all the time. Before you come home, can you buy some milk? I took a walk in the park after I ate dinner. Now, because I love chocolate is dependent. It's a baby. Before you come home is dependent. And after I ate dinner is the dependent clause. And if you can see, you can switch around the independent and dependent clauses, some at the beginning and some at the end. So we're going to look at a simple sentence. A simple sentence is made from one independent clause, such as Emily is crying. So I'm going to stop here because I want you just to take some time to digest what is a clause, what is a dependent and independent clause. And then I want you to be able to write a simple sentence. Remember, a simple sentence has the subject, verb, and object, or it can be a subject and a verb. I want you to practice writing the simple sentence before we move on to the dependent clause in a sentence, because once you write a dependent clause in a sentence, it's no longer a simple sentence. It becomes a complex sentence. So in this video, I want you just to master how to write an independent clause. In the next video, it's called the 4-sentence types. You're going to master how to write 4 different types of sentence. All right, guys, thanks so much. Again, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and watch my other videos. Check out my website, www.plusoneEnglish.com, and contact me. And if you mention that you watch this video, you'll receive a promo code for being a first-time student, and you'll receive an entire free lesson if you discover why the name of my website is Plus One. So use the contact box on the website and give me your answer.